As part of my air fryer series, I'm testing out the Cosori TurboBlaze air fryer, where I'll be sharing real results, mistakes and all, so you don't have to. Now let's get started. Inside the box we have the main unit, which delivers 1725 watts of power, the non-stick crisper tray, which is equipped with 4 silicone tabs on the corners that are removable for easy cleaning. We have the usual paperwork and a recipe guide to get you started. The basket has a push button to release it, and it's pretty stiff at first. This is the first time I've seen this feature in any of the air fryers I've ever reviewed, and honestly I don't see the point. It just adds an extra step for me. The 6-quarter non-stick basket is ideal for cooking up to 3 to 5 people. Taking a closer look inside, you'll see a top heating element with the fan positioned right behind it. When measuring the air fryer from the tallest area, it's roughly 11.5 inches tall. The widest part is roughly about 9.5 inches, and the depth from the back to the end of the handle is about 14.5 inches, and the cord length is 39 inches. The top mounted LED display panel is big and bright. We have 9 preset modes: air fry, roast, broil and frozen, which are the turbo modes. Then we have preheat, reheat, dry or dehydrate, bake, proof and keep warm. And you'll see that the fan speed auto adjusts based on the setting you select. Fan speed 1 is the lowest and 5 is the highest. All of the turbo modes use the highest fan speed, and you can't change this. The lowest temperature mode is 90 degrees Fahrenheit, that is used for proof mode. All of the turbo modes go as high as 450 degrees Fahrenheit, which is great for crisping up food fast. The time range is 1 minute with a maximum of 60 minutes for all settings other than the dehydrate mode, which has a maximum time of 24 hours. You can change the temperature from Fahrenheit to Celsius by pressing the temperature arrows for 3 seconds. And if you want to change the preset program from factory to your own, select the cooking function you want to set. Adjust the temperature and time to what you want it to always be as, then press and hold that cooking function for 3 seconds until you hear it bleep. I'll show it on air fry. Now when I select the air fry mode, it will always default to 400 degrees Fahrenheit and 10 minutes. As usual, I like to give the basket and tray a good wash and also clean the heating element. Since this one has a top display, I will lay down a towel before I flip it over to prevent it getting damaged or scratched, and give the heating element area a good wipe. You will see a lot of residue come off it, then flipping it back over to wipe down the exterior of the unit to remove any packaging and shipping residue. And yes, I show this in all my videos. Finally, before you cook in it, do a dry run to burn off any factory residue on the highest temperature setting. For this one it's 450 degrees Fahrenheit, and do it for 10 to 20 minutes. I'll do it for 10 minutes. Once done, remove the basket and let the air fryer air out. This helps to remove the plastic smell much faster. Now let's talk about the main difference, the motor. Unlike most air fryers that use AC motors, this one has a DC motor. AC motors or alternating current are what you'll find in most air fryers. They're simple, reliable, but not as efficient because the direction of the current reverses or alternates. DC motors or direct current, like the one in the TurboBlaze, are more energy efficient and can control speed better because it uses a steady flow in one direction. This means more power, better airflow, and apparently faster cooking. One other feature I found to be different is a standalone preheat option to use before you begin cooking. I do like this feature and think most will, because not everyone likes to preheat their air fryer or finds it necessary. I just have to remember to set it for those times when I want to preheat the unit first. I personally like to preheat the unit when I'm cooking meat or chicken, as it creates a nice sear and locks in the juices. The preheat setting defaults at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for 4 minutes, and I think that's more than enough time to preheat. For my first test, I did chicken thighs and 1 piece of chicken breast for my husband because he doesn't like to eat thighs. I did preheat the unit first before setting the air fryer on air fry mode, and I decided to use a slightly lower temperature to prevent the chicken drying out. So I set it at 390 degrees Fahrenheit for 20 minutes. When it's ready, I place the chicken breast in, and for my chicken thighs, since they had skin on them, I wanted to create an extra crispy skin for them. So I sprinkle them with baking powder before placing them skin side down. Give them a little spritz of oil. I'm using canola oil, but I do get a lot of people sharing their favorite oil to use. Feel free to share which you prefer, and these oil spray bottles are awesome. I will leave a link in the description box for you if you want to grab one for yourself. You want to avoid using aerosol spray cans because that will ruin the non-stick coating on the basket and tray. Flip the chicken in the last 5 minutes and spritz them again with oil. The unit does auto pause and resume when you remove the basket. And these chicken thighs and the chicken breast turned out amazing. Take a look at the crispy skin and the juices in them. And if you would like my recipe, I will leave a link to them in my description box. I like to share everything I make on my Facebook page. For my second test, I used the broil mode to make homemade burger patties, remembering to select the preheat option first, and I set it at the highest setting of 450 degrees Fahrenheit because for burgers and steaks I like the unit to be very hot to help create a good sear and lock in the juices. While the unit is preheating, I shape my patties, and to prevent them from swelling up, I poke the tiniest hole in them, and this keeps them at a nice even thickness level that both my kids and I can manage. I can easily fit in 4 burgers, which I cooked on broil at 450 degrees Fahrenheit for 5 minutes, making sure to flip them around the 3-minute mark. I like to aim for 160 to 165 degrees Fahrenheit. This keeps them slightly pink but not overdone. Depending on how thick you make your patties, you may need to cook them longer. Let them rest for 5 to 7 minutes before making your burgers. I also like to keep them in a bowl so all the juices remain in the bowl, and this helps to keep the burgers juicy. And I'm not sure if you can see properly on the screen, but these were perfect doneness level for us. Slightly pink but not too pink, and not overdone. They were super juicy inside, just how we like them. Test number 3 was testing out the proofing function. This is not something you see in every model, and the amount of homemade pizza and bread I make, this function is super handy for me. According to the book, I need to use a bowl and tightly wrap plastic over it to prevent the dough drying out, which makes sense. I did, however, have to find the right size bowl to fit in that will be wide enough and also a little high enough for the dough to rise against. My usual 7-inch baking dish wasn't tall enough, but I found this perfect mixing bowl which fit in perfectly nice and snug. The only thing is that meant the plastic wrap would be touching the side of the basket, and I was a little worried that the plastic wrap would melt, but I crossed my fingers and hoped for the best. The default setting is 90 degrees Fahrenheit for 60 minutes. It kept the dough at a consistent low temperature, and after an hour I had perfectly risen dough. I absolutely love this feature, and because the temperature was so low, the plastic wrap survived. Since the dough proofed well, I made some homemade stuffed bread using the bake setting. I will leave a link to the recipe in my description box if you want to check it out. I placed them directly in the basket and set it to bake at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 30 minutes. But after about 18 minutes, the tops were already a slightly dark golden brown, and I'm glad I checked on it. I did have to flip them over before continuing the cooking cycle because the underside will not cook as the heat cannot reach it. And as a reminder, if you missed it earlier, the unit does auto pause and resume when you remove the basket. So while the heat was steady, the bread had a good crust and the inside stayed soft. It did cook slightly faster by about 5 minutes, and I had to remove it after 25 minutes of bake time rather than the usual 30 minutes that I normally do. So yeah, thumbs up for baking. So my final thoughts on the Cosori TurboBlaze with its DC motor. Does it really cook 46% faster? My answer, probably, but that depends on what you're comparing it to. Cosori's claim is based on older models like the Pro Gen 2, so if you're upgrading from an older Cosori or an air fryer from say 5 years ago, you'll likely notice a big difference. However, Cosori isn't the only brand using DC motors now, and some air fryers without DC motors can cook just as fast. DC motors are a great improvement. They don't automatically guarantee faster cooking than every AC motor air fryer. Some well-optimized AC motor models can also perform just as well, from the heating element power like an 1800 watt unit or a well-designed unit with good air circulation and cooking chamber also need to be factored in. Now about the fan speeds, this air fryer does automatically adjust them for you based on the settings you choose. All the turbo modes use the highest fan speed. Some may wish they had control over the fan speed, but honestly I don't think it's a bad thing. You already have to figure out time and temperature, and the last thing people want is to play around with fan speeds too. As long as you can adjust the temperature, that's what really matters. And just to share what I personally did and didn't like, I like that it cooks fast and evenly. I like the standalone preheat option and the fact that the air fryer is quiet, including the soft beeps when compared to some other air fryers. While I like the big bright display panel, I am not too crazy about it being placed on the top because it does attract a lot of dust, visible fingerprints and streaks from wiping it, no matter how many times I clean it. I also found the push button on the handle to be a little annoying because not only did it give me an extra step to do, I often found it hard to release the drawer and wonder if this may cause problems later on down the line. The Cosori TurboBlaze is a great choice for anyone looking for a compact yet powerful air fryer that cooks fast, runs quietly and doesn't take up too much counter space. If you're upgrading from an older model or want a higher max temperature for better crisping, this one's worth considering. The manual states that the coating on the basket and the tray is non-stick, so it's highly likely made from Teflon, not ceramic. So if you are looking to avoid Teflon, this might not be for you. What do you think? Would you get the TurboBlaze? Let me know in the comments. If you did find this video useful, please do leave a like, and if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. If you are new to my channel, do consider subscribing. I hope to bring out lots more air fryer reviews and tips, and I do hope to see you all in my next video.